with sending direct traffic to this website and with manipulating CTR, I earned something like $50,000 per month. And it was fucking easy. Guest post alone is a multi-million dollars business. Everybody manipulates. The only question is when you draw the line. For the last 5 years, I think that I have spent more over than $5 million on link building, and I have tested some bold ideas, and I have made some costly mistakes. We were one of the first company who made a case study showing that something like 10 or 20% of links which were bought in Poland weren't indexed. Google have to bet on something, and I'm almost sure that they will bet on links. Good way of acquiring links is, for example, by cooperating with universities. You can make some DMC infringement scams, manipulation to get links.
Hello, welcome back to Odys Podcast. My name is Aneta Samkow and I am at Chiang Mai SEO today. And my guest is Michał Rochwerger, who is the CEO and founder of Trust Luna and Vistrix.
Hello, I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to this conversation because we're going to talk about SEO manipulations and Google signal manipulations. You said that manipulation in SEO is the rule, not exception. What do you mean?
I said so, really?
Yes, you said that. It's from one of your presentations, like a quote.
Yeah, it's probably my quote of the presentation Kusadation, Corey's mastermind, when I had a speech. And yes, I totally agree then that we live in some kind of SEO matrix. On one hand, we have got SEO specialists who manipulate signals to rank high in Google and to beat the competition. And on the other hand, we have got webmasters who manipulate the metrics to sell the guest posts, to sell their advertising and to earn money. As to tell you the truth, the guest post alone is a multi-million dollars business. So I think that everybody manipulates. The only question is when you draw the line. As for example, you can buy an expired or auction domain from Odys or from some other provider which belong to an embassy or university, and you can make a casino website on it. You can make some DMC infringement scams, manipulation to get links. So it's quite hard. And it happens all the time, to tell you the truth. And on the other hand, we have got webmasters who manipulates domain rating, who manipulates their traffic, who manipulates the category of their websites to sell more guest posts and to earn money on it.
Yeah. So can you think of like one thing that SEOs waste a lot of time trying to manipulate and it's like totally not worth it?
To tell you the truth, I would bet on traffic and social sign manipulation if it's not done correctly. And I think that almost 90% of people don't know how to do it properly, as buying cheap traffic from botnets or buying cheap traffic from micro workers from some Asian countries doesn't completely work. Also buying social sign from Facebook providers or some black hat market providers doesn't matter at the moment. They are only earning money, that guys who sells it, but it doesn't bring any value to your website.
Okay. So has something changed in 2026? I mean, like, are there some things that got easier to manipulate or maybe harder? What's new?
To tell you the truth, if you are smart, you have got the technology, you have got the know-how, you test a lot. It's easy to manipulate with a lot of things. But I suppose it's much harder to manipulate with value traffic. As for example, some years ago, I talked with Corey, and we were able to manipulate traffic from the desktops. There were some kinds of softwares like PandaBot, and it worked really great. I had my sites in Norway, in payday loans niche and in casino niche. And with sending direct traffic to this website and with manipulating CTR, I was able to rank top 1 for a year or for a year and a half. And I earned something like $50,000 per month. And it was fucking easy. But after the updates, all changed. And now manipulating traffic with desktop doesn't matter. If you want to manipulate the traffic, if you want to manipulate the CTR, you must use only mobile traffic and do it correctly with some good techniques and some tips and tricks.
So what's worth to manipulate?
What's worth manipulate?
Yes.
It's a really interesting question. For sure, if we are a SEO specialist, what's important to manipulate is traffic and CTR, as it can boost your rankings really high and it can help you to beat the competition. If you are, for example, a website owner and you want to sell the guest posts, the two main things which are worth to be manipulated is domain rating and trust flow, as everybody is checking it. And I would bet on the traffic, as if someone buys a guest post, he will check the domain rating metric and will check the traffic. And this all, he can pay $500 USD, 1,000 USD for a guest post with faked domain rating, with fake trust flow, with fake traffic. It doesn't matter.
Awesome. We actually just recorded an episode on CTR manipulation, so you can watch it here.
I'm waiting for it. I will watch it for sure.
Awesome. So do links still work?
Yeah, I think that links are one of the core fundamentals factors at the moment in offsite. Even Google employees still confirms it at the conferences. As you know, we live in a world of AI, in which we can do things at scale, which took us weeks or months before. So we can create a huge amount of content. Each day, tens of millions of new documents are created globally by in-houses, by freelancers and SEO agencies. We can do audits really fast using AI. We can also do some UX and DAT signals. So it will have done everything correctly. What will matter? Links will matter. Google have to bet on something. And I'm almost sure that they will bet on links as they did in the past when they won with Alta Vista and Yahoo.
Okay. And I know you invested a lot of money into testing various link building tactics. Can you share what have you actually wasted your budget on? What you burned?
I may try. That's true. Over the last 5 years, I think that I have spent more over than $5 million USD on link building.
Wow.
And I have tested some bold ideas and I have made some costly mistakes. That's true for sure. But what's quite funny, I haven't been the only one who made those costly mistakes. As I was sitting in the front row watching how big agencies and media houses burn budget, took shortcuts and wanted to only look good in reports. Things that doesn't matter and doesn't work at the moment are for sure low quality links from directories, profiles, forum links, low quality PBNs, which have got manipulated metrics, outreach being done at scale doesn't work so good, and low quality guest posts. Of course, we could add also second and third tier links if they are not indexed, and very few people is checking the link indexation. It's also a huge problem, to tell you the truth.
Really? It's like a simple mistake to make.
It's one of the most common mistakes. To tell you the truth, a few years ago, we were one of the first company who made a case study showing that something like 10 or 20% of links which were bought in Poland weren't indexed. They were bought by huge media houses, by huge in-houses, and all those specialists didn't check it. So, you know, if they spent $1 million USD per year for link building and 10 or 20% of that budget is wasted,
that's crazy.
That's crazy. And after that case studies, the biggest platforms in Poland started to promote indexing. And I think it was a good move.
Yeah. So how to do effective link building in 2026? Let's talk about different methods. Everybody likes black hat.
Everybody likes black hat.
Let's start with black hat. Let's go right into the most favorite topic. What are the black hat methods that still work? Like hot links, fake DMCA copyright, infringement scams. Like, can you explain?
Aleta, you don't like white hat methods?
I like, but let's start with the black ones. Let's move towards the light, you know?
To tell the truth, all those methods for me are money hat methods. Of course, we've got some gray hat methods, black hat methods, white hat methods, but if you use them wise and you manipulate the algorithm wise, it will bring you the best effects. If we are talking about black hat methods, so what's most popular and common black hat methods, I would bet on, let's say, PBNs. So you can build private block networks and it will help you a lot with your rankings, but you can use also auction domains, not like PBNs, but you can do money sites on it. And in a lot of countries, like in Asia, South Africa, South America, and even in Europe, if you use an auction domain and put a money site on it, you can rank in a week or 2 weeks in the hardest niche. Another method in black hat SEO is, for example, hack links. You can how you can get hack links. It's the simple way is to buy it on black market. You can buy hacked links on, for example, black hat. What I don't recommend it. We don't use those shady methods, of course, in Poland, but it happened. If you are smarter, you can also scan, for example, for outdated WordPress, Drupal, or Joomla CMSs with known exploits. But you must have a good know-how, or you can create, for example, some plugins or some themes and put their backdoor access. So a lot of people will install it. You will provide it for free, and then you will put some links on. You will take care of a website. What more black hat SEO methods? For sure, 301 redirects is also connected with the domains. So, for example, Odys domains or some others providers domains, you can buy a domain which has got a fucking great amount of links pointing to it, a great history, and you can 301 redirect it to your website or do some canonical things. There are also DMC infringement scams, and it works really good. How it works, for example, you create a good-looking, nice-looking website of a low company. You put there some fake pictures of your team. You put their telephone number. It must look legit. Then you search, then you scan for a website with high domain rating. You can use some software like, for example, Scrapebox or some other. You scan for images and then you send bulk email to the website owners, informing them then the images on the websites infringes the copyright of their clients with the images, as they don't have the licenses for it. And a lot of people will be scared. And you add an information that it's okay to use this image, but you must add a link to your client's website. And to tell you the truth, the accuracy is really high. In Kusadasia, I showed a case study in which some people were able to get something like 230 links and links from domains with domain rating 80, 90 with traffic over 1 million, which in regular world would cost them probably 100,000 or 200,000 USD dollars. And they did it with the DMC infringement scams in a month. So a month of work for such results, it's really good.
Oh, wow. So can you tell us about like any undervalued link acquiring tactics?
And the undervalued. So maybe let's talk more about some gray or white hat SEO methods, not only black hat.
Everybody gets excited.
Not only black hat method, please. A good way of acquiring clicks is, for example, by cooperating with universities or career office. Believe me, you can give them some access to your online courses. You can give them, for example, access to your events in Poland. As for example, we are organizing Control and Grow, and we can offer universities accesses for their students.
Nice.
And for it, we'll be able to write a guest post on their blog and to link to our client.
Nice.
It works. It happens. years ago, it was also possible to do some sponsorships for the universities and to give them some money for their best students. And they were also putting links on their websites. And now you can also use swipe coding and AI to create some tools, let's say health calculators, loans calculators, put it on your web page and other people's will link to the tools.
So when you're starting, when you're designing like a link building campaign, what differentiates the well-executed one from those that fail?
A good question, Aneta. I think it's all about the details. The details are more important. So what I mean, how do you estimate the budget? How do you plan your strategy and how you execute it? As for example, you must estimate the budget properly. You may do a link up and check how much your competition spent on link building per month and per year. You may check how many guest posts do they acquire, how many PBNs, how many niche edits, how many other things. And for example, if your competition spent something like $10,000 per month and you will have only $2,000 per month, you won't be able to beat them. Also, doing the link building campaign is really important. So choosing the websites you will link on, choosing their categories, not investing in websites which faked their metrics, indexing your guest posts is really important. So it's all about small details which will allow you to win with your competition.
What are the typical mistakes you see people make?
What are typical mistakes?
Yeah.
The most typical mistakes are based on domains manipulation, which I mentioned. So people are only checking metrics like domain rating, trust flow, links in, links out, the theme of the web page, but they are not going one step further to check if the domain rating is really a real one, if the traffic is connected to your website category. As for example, I mentioned that in Kusadasi, in Corey's mastermind, we had the website which looked like a loans website, so a website connected with finance. It looked really great, but when we checked organic keywords in Ahrefs, there was keywords connected with Mia Khalifa. I'm not sure if you know who is Mia Khalifa, but believe me, Mia Khalifa is not connected with laws. Mia Khalifa is not connected with financial category, but it's an easy keyword which can be ranked and which will allow you to manipulate the traffic.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Many H domains, many links, guest posts have manipulated metrics. How do you spot these patterns of manipulation?
You have to invest some time in it, I suppose, and you have some experience. As for example, if you see a domain rating, which is one of the most popular metrics, you can go to Ahrefs and see the theme. If it was something like from 0 to hero, so for example, from 0 to 70 in a few days, of course, it's manipulated. If it's stable or is growing week by week or month by month, it's a good one. Of course, you can go also to backlinks, sorted by the highest domain rating, and see from which website the domain rating comes. So it's really easy. It's the same with traffic. If you see a website which has got, for example, 20 or 50,000 of traffic, check it in Ahrefs. Don't look only at the traffic. Look at the organic keywords and see if the traffic is branded, if the traffic is connected with Mia Khalifa, or the traffic is connected with the keywords you're interested in.
So it's relatively easy to do,
it is,
right?
It is.
It's all in Ahrefs.
But people don't like easy things, believe me. They are being taught in another way, and they don't want to waste 5 minutes more of their work to do their job properly. It happens. I don't know why.
Are there ways, and have you seen any cases where actually this type of manipulation was hidden?
Of course. You can hide it in different ways, as for example, traffic manipulation. It can be done in the easiest way. as for example, doing the traffic for the brand, but you can also rank your websites on a few nicely looking keywords and send traffic to them. And after sometimes Ahrefs also will get it to the database, and it's really hard to check it.
And that will look natural.
That will look completely natural. Of course, the domain rating manipulation can also be done in a good way and in a bad way.
Yeah.
For example, you can buy some domains with high domain rating from Odys, from some other providers, expired domains.net and so on. And you can put a few links linking to your website. And the domain rating will also grow in a few weeks. And it will look natural. The worst way is to buy links on Fiverr, as it costs, for example, $5 or $15. It also works correctly, but if you check it, you will see that, for example, you was given 100 links from domains like XYZ or CC, so very cheap domains, and they will remove it in weeks. So you will also lose it.
So that's just a lazy work done when you're not hiding what you're manipulating, and people still don't check it.
People likes to be lazy, and I also like to be lazy sometimes. You know how it looks.
And still, 90% of SEOs look at domain rating. It's the first metric they check.
Yes.
Why is it the worst mistake?
Fuck, I don't know, to tell you the truth, why it happens that way. Maybe there is some myth in Poland, and all the newbies, all the people who start working in SEO, checks the domain rating as their head of SEO or SEO managers tell them to do that. And it happens all the way. We have got huge clients in Poland, and very often they say, Mike, we need domains with domain rating over 30. We don't want anything else. And I'm offering them domains with domain rating 10 or 15, but it's domains and links from normal blogs.
And
with
like
a
relevant,
really healthy,
right?
And the relevant, really healthy blogs, which would help them. And they say, fucking no. And we offer them AI websites with manipulating domain rating, and they say, cool, it's enough for us. We want it in the report.
Yeah, let's buy
I'm surprised, but it works that way.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I totally agree.
So what metrics should you actually check?
I think that the hardest metrics which can be manipulated
what is the hardest to manipulate?
The hardest to be manipulated is traffic, and I think that there is only a few crews in the world who can manipulate the traffic, as you need very complicated technology, you need know-how, and you need quite big budgets. So it's not so easy to be done. On the other hand, we have got some metrics like trust flow or domain rating, which are being manipulated in a few days. If you want to manipulate traffic, it will take you 2 or 3 months and a really big investment. Of course, if it's done properly, you will earn a lot of money. So it's worth.
In what cases is it worth?
In few cases. If you sell guest posts, manipulation of traffic is really worth, as everybody check the traffic and everybody wants websites with traffic. Years ago, people were buying links from PBNs, and PBNs used not to have traffic. At this moment, at this point, nobody is buying links from PBS. Maybe nobody. There are some still niches like casinos, penis enlargement, and so on and so on. In some other countries like Asia, South Africa, it may still work. But in Poland, United States, Czech, Slovakia, UK, people usually wants to buy links from website which has got regular traffic. So getting traffic is really important. But on the other hand, if you are a website owner, if you are a SEO specialist, head of SEO, bringing direct traffic to your website or bringing higher CTR will also help you to rank higher. But the traffic must be from the real users, with user engagement, with user interaction, and it matters.
So, but CTR you can also manipulate.
Of course, of course.
What ways do people manipulate CTR? What have you seen?
To tell the truth, there are a few effective ways. If you have got a lot of friends with mobile phones, you can tell them to click on some search results. But if you don't have friends or you are good in technology and some know-how tricks, you can build your mobile devices network. You can build some routers with SIM cards. And for example, in Poland, when you switch airplane mode, and you switch it off back, you will have a unique IP. So it's really easy to get unique IPs in Poland with mobile devices and to manipulate the CTR.
Okay. Because you need the unique IP.
It's quite important, as the traffic can't come from the same IP. It shouldn't.
Okay. What about social signals? Are they prone to manipulation as well?
I don't think it's worth to manipulate social signals. Of course, if you have a website, it's important to get traffic from Facebook, from LinkedIn, and from other sources, as it looks natural. But buying social sign from some black hat providers doesn't matter for me, as it's very often botnet traffic. And Google is very good at catching it. So it's a waste of money and it's a waste of time.
Now everybody's talking about AI. It's a big topic. How does AI and automation, what role does it play in SEO manipulation?
Aneta, AI is really sexy at the moment, as everybody wants to be present in ChatGPT, everybody wants to be present in AI mode, Perplexity, Cloud, and so on and so on. So it's really important. If you won't be there, you may lose the race. So you must be. In LLMs, I also showed nice case studies in Odys Mastermind, in which we were able to put our clients in ChatGPT, in AI overview, and in organic Google results with a parasite on top one. As it's not really complicated. All those LLMs are being taught from sources that they trust. So if you know that sources and you are present there, you will be seated in LLMs. So of course, you must be seated in Reddit, you may be seated in Wikipedia, but you also may be seated in the biggest publishers with which they sign the contracts.
So how do you manipulate LLM results?
How do I manipulate? You can manipulate by inserting mentions and links in the guest posts on niche edits, which are ranking really high and which are trustable for the LLMs. As they will go there, they will take knowledge and they will update the database with that information.
Yeah. Can you also take advantage of parasite SEO to do that?
Is the best way to use the parasite SEO. As for example, in Poland, we have got such website like Poradnik Przedsiębiorcy. It's one of the biggest websites in Poland, which is liked by LLMs, which is liked by ChatGPT, AI overview. So when we are able to put a guest post, interlink it, send some traffic to it and do some second tier and third tier links, we were able to put the guest post on top one in organic Google results, and all the LLMs took the knowledge from it and put it inside of them.
And how can you, what is AI's role in manipulating Google signals? Like, how are black hatters using AI to speed up the manipulation of CTR, traffic, links, domain rating? Has it helped? Is it being used?
For sure, AI helps to build PBNs or money sites at scale. As for example, in the past, you had to pay something like $50 per a content article, and now you can make thousands of content articles in a few seconds, and it doesn't cost you anything. So for sure, it helps scaling. Regarding building links, I don't think so. That AI helps a lot. Of course, you can build at scale private block networks, and you can put links to your money site. So maybe in this way.
Mhm. What are the new technologies that black hatters use for scaling and improving, manipulating Google signals?
I suppose that a lot of SEO specialists use at the moment wipe coding for creating some cool tools, which helps them to scale the content, to scale the technical actions and other things. And it helps a lot. I also think that using AI will be very important in the future to manipulate LLM results, and it will help us a lot.
So now that we discussed all the black hat, can you actually share something about the gray and white hat tactics? Do guest posts still work?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I think that the guest posts are one of the most effective ways of building authority to your website, sending link juice and getting links to your websites. But you must do it correctly. It changed a bit, as I suppose that 95% of people who buy guest posts buy some 500 words article, don't check the metrics and do it in massive scale. And this is a huge mistake. How you should done it? First, you should choose a good quality website. Then you should use some tools like Neuron Writer or Surface SEO to create a high quality article, which will bring some audience to your websites. You should write an good article, which will also rank in the organic keywords. And in this way, you will get some traffic, you will get some user engagement, you will get some user interaction. So it's really important. Also, if the article has a good quality and you add some interlinking from other guest posts on that website, to add some tier 2, 3, 4 links on, you send some traffic there, it will rank high. So you will get the traffic, but very probably you will also be seated in LLMs. So it's a huge advantage, but it takes much longer and you must invest some know-how in it to do it properly. But it's really worth. And of course, it's worth to check the indexation of that article, because if it's not indexed, it's money wasted.
So, in your opinion, what are the fundamentals of off-page SEO in 2026?
I think that the fundamentals are still about showing that other people and other websites trust you. So, of course, strong and relevant backlinks. Sometimes, or even not sometimes, but usually and very often, 10 strong links can give you much more than 1,000 weak ones. Brand signals are really important. So people searching for your brand, mentioning it online matters. User engagement. So how people interact with your website, the direct traffic to your website is really important, as it's really hard to be manipulated. I would also add to those fundamentals multi-platform presence. So it's worth to be on Reddit, it's worth to be on Facebook, it's worth to be on LinkedIn, Instagram, as it looks natural, and it's a good sign.
So looking ahead, what new off-page manipulation patterns do you think will become most widespread in 2026?
Yeah, I think that creating, let's say, some private block networks, but not to getting links, but creating some private block networks with, for example, domains used by ambassades, universities, some huge businesses, and putting their content with citations, maybe a game changer in coming years.
Yeah. What would that be used for?
If you have such a network which is trusted by ChatGPT, which is trusted by AI Overview, Cloud, and some other things, you will be able to put your brand or put your clients in LLMs really fast.
Okay.
So it will be a huge game changer for people who will be able to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michal, for sharing so many insights. And if you're interested to learn more, follow Michal on LinkedIn and subscribe to our Odys Podcast.